Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle and this is Heart of Michi. I really appreciate you coming on by and checking this video out. Today we're going to be talking about my views on ideas as a lead extroverted intuitive. A lot of what I'm going to say you might have already heard before. I might be just, slow to the come up. Slow to the come up? Might be slow to the, how does that phrase work? Might be slow on the uptake, but this is something that I realized over the weekend and I would like to share with you guys because I do think it might garner some insight as to what being an extroverted intuitive dominant is like. Let's go ahead and talk about ideas, because ideas are great. So, ideas. I had a couple of thoughts and one of the first is I am attached to the idea of ideas, however not to the ideas themselves. This seems like a counterintuitive impossibility, doesn't it? I mean, how can I be in love with the idea of ideas but not necessarily attached to the ideas themselves? Well, I think this is one of the biggest frustrations people have with extroverted intuitives, because we find our value in the ability to bring new insights. Our personal value is completely tied up in how well we are able to come up with new ideas. We need to present the world with something new, with something innovative, or we have no purpose. Something that I have realized about myself. Are you done? Something that I have realized about myself over this weekend is something that a lot of you probably are like, wow, Michelle, really? You just now figured this out? Really? But I found it important because other people like me might not really understand this about themselves, and hopefully I can give you the wording to help describe what's going on in your mind. This is it. As an ENFP who has lead extroverted intuition, I am in love with new ideas. If it is new, if it is inspiring, I am all about it. Even if it's an old idea, but it's brought up in a new way that might change things, might help create new ideas, I love it. Something that I never want to see happen is to find the ultimate idea that gets rid of the need for any more new ideas. I never want there to be a point where we run out of new ideas. And I never feel like with any idea that I create that it is the ultimate idea and that there will never be anything better than that. Because the idea of there never being any better ideas is, quite frankly, depressing. I put so much value in the new ideas. To see somebody put down new ideas is not necessarily negative, but it is a driving force for me to come up with something better. When people tell me that an idea is not new, is not innovative, is not good enough, it doesn't turn me off to the idea. It doesn't make me upset about an idea. It doesn't make me feel like, oh, this idea isn't good enough. What it does is makes me want to make the idea good enough, makes me want to push the idea to the next extreme, push it even further, see how far I can stretch it, or disregard it completely and go after something new. Because I put a lot of my self-value and my self-worth in my ability to come up with something innovative, something new. I don't care if it comes to fruition. I don't care if the idea is like the best thing that everybody has ever seen and they start making it happen. I don't care about that. I mean, there are some times when I do, but in general, I don't care about that. I care about the fact that I presented an idea that other people like. Or I care about the fact that people like my idea. I care that my idea has influenced people. I care that I have done something new and innovative, or thought of something new and innovative. To help bring home this point, I wanted to bring up an example in my real life of attachment to new ideas, not the ideas themselves, or the attachment to idea rather than to a specific idea, or to the idea of ideas rather than to a specific idea. However, it makes the most sense in your mind. Just go with it. With my novel series, which is quite impossible to explain, as I have found out as I have been sitting here trying to explain it, with my novel series, I have been trying to make my novel so different from anything that you've ever read that nothing ever feels good enough. I'm constantly changing the story, changing the point of view, changing the way that I tell the story, changing the starting point, changing major key plot points so that I can make it better and more unique. And then when I find myself making it more in a way that has already been done, I reel it in and I evaluate what is wrong with this, what could be better. And then I get these ingenious ideas for how I could tell it in a way that nobody has told a story. And then I start working on that, and then I get a new idea, and then I want to make it that way, because the point is not to have a finished product with extroverted intuition, but to have something better than you had before. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving, and it's not like these things are from me. I never necessarily feel like they come from me, like from within myself, but I do feel like I've discovered them. Like every change and every major thing that's happened with my story, it doesn't feel like I've come up with the idea, it feels like I've discovered it. And when I do feel like I'm trying to create the idea, I don't ever like the idea all that much because it feels forced, it feels fabricated, it doesn't feel genuine. And when I discover these ideas, they actually feel genuine. So there's this sort of detachment from the ideas themselves, like they're not mine. They are found objects to be revered, and that anyone has the capability of finding them, but I found them. So it's kind of like being an archaeologist of ideas. Except instead of necessarily looking in the past, we could be looking in the future or the possibilities of the future. It's very hard to explain, but I hope that this video has kind of helped to illuminate a little bit my attachment to ideas as an ENFP, and hopefully other ENFPs can relate and ENTPs can relate, and potentially INFP and INTPs, because you guys also lead you have auxiliary extroverted intuition. But I have to imagine with auxiliary extroverted intuition, you do use introverted intuition a lot more and might find more value in it, even though it's not what you really value, but you might find more value in it than I do, per se. I don't know. If you are an extroverted intuitive, tell me, how do you feel about ideas? Do you feel like you're coming up with them? Do you feel like you're finding them, etc.? For those of you who don't have extroverted intuition, what do you think about people who do? What do you think about it when you see it happening? Do you feel like we have an attachment to our ideas? As an extroverted intuitive, do you have attachment to your ideas? These are the kinds of questions that I'm interested in hearing your answers to. But with that, if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new, please go ahead and subscribe. And as always, I hope you have a beautiful, amazing, fantastic day. Bye! That seems